Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you had a really great day trading today. So today was Wednesday, July 31st, and we did have FOMC, and we also had Meta earnings in after hours. And I'm not going to lie, today I am a little bit under the weather. I did have something happen in my personal life that is really making me kind of sad tonight, but I love reading technicals and they get me energized, and I will absolutely be able to get through this video. So absolutely wild day, and starting in SPY, let's take a look at where we closed yesterday. This was Tuesday. We closed underneath the 50-day moving average, and we opened with a massive gap up completely outside of the implied move. And to take a look at that move a little bit closer, the last two times we gapped completely outside of the implied move was these two down gaps. And we had right here, we did have the implied move bottom right here. And when we gapped underneath that completely, we kept moving down. And then right here, if you recall, we also had the implied move bottom was right here, basically lined up with this gap. When we gapped down completely underneath it, we ended up with a follow through in that direction. So today, when we opened up and completely outside of the implied move, it's almost like we had no choice, because these right here, these options blew up over here. Just like when we were here, the options up here blew up and pushed us further down. So we did open with that gap up, and then we pushed up, closed out the bull gap that was from last Friday. And I'm sorry, this was 2 Fridays ago, and that was that up gap to start the week on Monday. And as soon as we filled that gap, we actually did drop back down a little bit. That 1 hour 200 moving average was also there. We pulled back down just a little bit, and then we pushed back up when Jerome Powell started speaking. And we took it all the way to the 30-minute 200 moving average up here. We almost completely closed that bear gap. We did not close it completely, which is an advantage for the bears, but right now looking at ES, it is possible that we open with a gap up above that. So those overnight moves can really push the market in whatever way we gap up, especially if we get completely outside of the implied move. So SPY did close up 1.63%. VIX closed down 7.41%. And we did not close within the implied move. In fact, we didn't even touch the implied move today. We gapped completely over it, but we did close within the next day's implied move. So for tomorrow's contract, Thursday's contract, 551 was the top, and we closed just underneath that at 550.81. And then taking it over to QQQ, we did open here with that same gap up. Let me get these arrows out of here. So we gapped up completely outside of the implied move. We did also get above this previous resistance that we've seen since last week, Thursday, and then Friday, and then Monday. And we gapped above those two levels, and the same thing here. We gap out completely outside of the implied move, and then we push in that direction. So the same thing happened here. When we gapped completely outside of the implied move, we followed through going in the direction of the gap. Same thing here. It was completely outside the implied move. The follow through was in the direction of that gap. So that's a new thing for me that I've been paying attention to, and definitely something you can add to your playbook. If we open with a gap up completely outside of the implied move, what happens is these options down here get destroyed, and it just adds pressure in the direction of the gap. So we got above the implied move at 466, above previous resistance at 467, and we pushed up, and we did get just underneath the 50-day moving average. And then right here was a previous support level. If we zoom back just a little bit, right there, that is previous support, and then we gapped underneath that. So this, we need to look at this level to see if it is resistance, and if not, if we can turn it back into a support. We also have the island top gap and a bunch of resistance to the upside here, which in SPY we ended up filling most of that. So if we continue this momentum to the upside, we might find ourselves within that gap, within the battle zone. QQQ closed up a huge 2.96%. VXN closed down 6.89%, and we did not even touch the implied move here at all today. we just gapped completely outside of it. Huge day in the NASDAQ, and then switching it over to SPX. We did open here with that same gap up. We gapped above the 50-day moving average and completely outside of the implied move, above previous resistance. And then from there, momentum carried us higher. We filled in the bull gap right here, and that 1 hour 200 moving average was right there. And initially we did see a pullback at that level. But then as soon as Jerome Powell started speaking, we did get a push up, and we almost completely closed that bear gap, but we did leave a little bit open, which is advantageous to the bears, unless of course we gap up and over that level. But we did get pushed down just a little bit above that 30-minute 200 moving average and pretty close to the top of the bear gap here within that island top gap. So we did close out last Monday's up gap, and we almost completely closed out last Wednesday's down gap. SPX did close up 1.58%. VIX again down 7.41%, and we did not even touch the implied move today. Huge moves for FOMC. And then IWM, we did open here relatively flat and just above the 35 EMA. And we did see that as support right away, and we bounced up. We did see a little bit of a resistance right here. That was previous resistance on Thursday. I take that back. That was last Friday. We did see this level twice. And then we did get pushed down there today. And then when Jerome Powell spoke today, we bounced on that 35 EMA. We closed out that long time bear gap. This removes resistance from IWM almost completely. And then we did drop back down to close just above the 35 EMA. So we did end up still closing bullish here, which means price above 35 EMA and 35 EMA above the 30-minute 200 moving average. And just closing out this bear gap today was a very bullish move for IWM. And then lastly, and before we take a look at Meta, we do have DIA. We did see a move up today in the Dow all the way up to the top of the 30-day average volatility. So 412 was the top of the 30-day average, and almost to the penny, we did see that as a resistance, and we did pull back pretty much down to the 35 EMA. We still closed above the 35 EMA. Of the three, the Dow actually did tumble back after Jerome Powell spoke the most, and we did come from almost the top of the trading range to closing almost flat just above the 35 EMA. We did still get a bullish close here, which means price above 35 EMA and then 35 EMA above the 30-minute 200 moving average. So definitely that 35 EMA should be looked at as support heading into tomorrow. The IA closed up 0.27%, and we did stay completely within the trading range today. And look at how simple the trading range was today. Just 35 EMA. That was the only thing in the entire trading range, at least to the upside. We did have that 30-minute 200 moving average underneath, but pretty simple trading range in DIA compared to the others. And taking a quick look at Meta today, we did have earnings in after hours, and this right here is regular trading hours, and you could see we gapped over the 35 EMA. This is on the 30-minute time frame, and then we basically traded sideways underneath this gap from last Tuesday going into Wednesday. I just am now seeing that we do have an island top right here. So we had a green gap right here. So let me add that really quickly. This is going to get really complicated here in a second when you guys see the price action after earnings. Okay, so now we have this gap right here. So we did see that island top right here as a resistance during regular trading hours. And then in after hours, we had earnings. So I'm going to take it over to extended hours and just pay attention. 508 was the top of the implied move. That was from options yesterday. I had that on last night's video. And then check this out, guys. In extended hours, we pushed up. This is where we had regular hours. And then we pushed up and we took it all the way to the top of the implied move in Meta. So hopefully some of you guys played that. Hopefully you guys made some money. We took it all the way up into this next gap, and I don't really know where that goes. Right here. So that was on July 24th. So not too far back. It just looks further back because we have extended hours on. But we did get all the way up, and this right here, when we open in the morning, is going to be pretty much one of the coolest things. I'm going to have to keep up with this technically because we did stop trading today underneath this gap. But if we open in the morning right here, then we will have made another bull gap, and that would be a bull gap here, a bear gap here, and another bull gap here. I don't even know what to think about that, but as a technical analyst, it makes me pretty excited. So that was Meta today, and let's switch back to regular trading hours. So right here you can see regular trading hours. So if we gap up to the top of the implied move in the morning, then we'll see that green gap going here, and then we'll have an up gap, down gap, and another up gap. So if you guys know what that is called, then let me know. And if you don't know what that's called, then whoever names it first, that's what I'm going to call it until the end of the year. So I'm going to end this video here while I go work on the trading ranges for tomorrow. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you love my content, if my videos help you to choose better strikes and take better trades, and you love that I break it down every night, then please make sure to give this video a like. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you do get notified every time I post a new video. Don't forget about that thank you button. It's a really easy way to show your appreciation for the work that I do to bring you guys these trading ranges. And definitely, if you have any questions, make sure you leave me a comment. I do love to teach this stuff, and it makes me so happy when I can explain it to someone. There are no dumb questions. Ask me anything in the comments, and I usually get back within 24 hours. So if this is it for you guys tonight, then have a good night. And if not, if you guys are going to join me in a couple hours when I release the trading ranges for tomorrow, then I'll see you in a bit. But either way, have fun, trade safe, make sure you take profits when you're up, and I'll see you guys in a few hours.